Welcome in, everybody, to the Canuck Arcade. You all asked for it. I am going to do it. This is the upgrade video of the iconic arcade from the Raspberry Pi 4 1 gig to the Raspberry Pi 5 8 gig. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll run through everything we need, then I'll do a breakdown of the unit, we'll switch over, and then I'll put everything into the arcade. I'll show you how I have it set up. You can set it up that way or find a way that might work better for you. And then hopefully by the end of this, we have a working Raspberry Pi 5 iconic arcade. All right, so let's start off with the stuff we're going to need. All right, so obviously we are going to need a Raspberry Pi 5. Now, I have mine already set up. Now, here's a few things we need to kind of think about here before you move forward with this upgrade. It is kind of expensive. It's not the cheapest thing, and you need to make sure that you have a few things to do the upgrade. It's not just a one-for-one. We can't just take the Pi 4 out, slap this Pi 5 in, plug everything in, and it's good to go. There's a few things that have changed with the Pi 5, which makes it a little different, but not impossible to do this mod. So the first kind of major thing that changed is there's a power switch on this now, and it's right here. Now, that's probably a good thing for most people, but the problem with us is that there's no way for us to access that power switch once it's inside the arcade, inside the unit. So that's kind of crappy, really. Now, the next thing is we do have an option to attach a power button to it that will function like this one very easily. Well, and I don't know how easily, but it seems simple, and I will attempt it, but we're not going to do it in this video. We take a couple of pins like these, and we actually solder them right there. I don't know if y'all can see those two holes, but right there, those two holes on the board, right there. This gets soldered in there. You can attach your button, and then when you press it, it'll turn it on and off. Now, we can also use the pins here on the side. The only challenge is that I've ran into, and that's what I'm using right now, is that I can shut the unit down, but you can't turn the unit back on by using the button. Now, I've looked, I can't figure out a way to do it. If anyone knows that might be watching this, please let me know. But as for now, I can get it to work as a shutdown, but not as a boot up, and I'll show you how to do that. The next thing we need to worry about here is that there is no audio jack on this. There is nowhere to plug in our audio. But that is not a big deal because we can just pick up one of these. This is an HDMI audio extractor. It works pretty easy. You put HDMI wire in one side, you put another one on the other side that goes to your monitor, and then you simply plug the 3.5 audio jack in here. Bingo, bango, bongo, we have audio. Now, this does come powered, and I don't know about the different styles. There are different ones. This runs around 25 bucks Canadian on Amazon. This does have a switch for TV 2.0 and 5.1. I just leave it on TV. I don't plug in the power, and it works just fine. I don't know if the power is in case you don't have an amp, but because the arcade's pre-amped, it works fine. Now, if you are using this just as the console without the arcade, the full cabinet, I mean, then you may need to have a power, which involves a USB dongle inside. You'll have to put inside, but I'll talk about that when we're putting everything together. Like I said, we are going to need the power from this device because it needs to be a specific power, 5.1 volts at 5 amp to get full power out of the device. So you're gonna have to make sure, and again, this is cost because you can just buy the Pi itself, but you need to have some active cooling on it, and you also need to have the proper power supply. I don't know what could happen if you're not running either thing. I suggest not to do it. Make sure you're keeping it cool and active. Next thing you're going to need is obviously a power bar. Now, what power bar you choose is really up to you. The smaller, the better. This I picked for a couple of reasons. One, because it can be mounted to the side of the unit with a couple of screws, which is handy. Also, because it's 9-port, as you can see, I can put plugs in on any side. So it gives me the ability to run plugs that are odd shaped that might cover another plug up. gives me lots of room to do that. Also, it has the power button, which is a big thing because we'll be using that to shut off the full unit instead of the power button that comes with it. Next thing we're going to need is some sort of a case for it, because your Pi 4 and Pi 5 are a little bit different, and I'll show you that as we go. This case here that I got on Amazon is the exact same case that comes in the arcade. The only difference is this one is designed for the Pi 5 instead of the Pi 4, so I'm missing the audio jack and stuff is different on the back. One last thing that I'm adding to my arcade, and you obviously won't have to do this unless you, for some reason, stream, or not some reason, but want to stream, or you want to have a separate HDMI of the audio or video from the arcade, then I have this splitter here that's going to split it so that I can run it to my computer and I can stream video that I'm actually playing on the arcade. Now again, this is something just for me, but because I'm adding it to the process, or adding it to my unit, I'm going to show you where I put it in the process, and if you want to do it, you have the option to do that as well. So that should pretty much cover everything that we are going to need. So let me grab the console or the arcade unit, and we will rip that apart and we'll start this swap. All right, so what we're going to need is the Allen key that came with the arcade. If you got just the console unit, then obviously you're not going to have it, but you'll need an Allen key to take these screws off the top. So we're just going to undo all 4 screws. We'll open up the inside and we can take a look at it. Now, I have cracked, I don't know if that comes up on camera, I've cracked my plastic. I glued it back on. I didn't, when I put my cabinet together, I didn't tighten this one side, and it got up on the lip, and I was excited playing, beating my kids at games, and I cracked it. So I've actually bought a couple of these units, not the full arcades, but just the console units here. So through this, I'm going to replace this out with a nice new fresh one, just so I don't have the crack, because, you know, I'm like that, and I can. So I'll do that off camera. I'll just switch it over. But as for now, here we are, the inside of our iconic arcade. It's nothing crazy. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. This is our Pi 4. We got a few wires running into it. One of them is obviously the power switch. The other one is for the fan that is in the Pi 4. Now, this is pretty easy. We're just going to unplug everything, undo these screws, and then I'll kind of go over what the differences are between the Pi 4 and the Pi 5. So we're going to start with Ethernet. And then these are for our USBs. Now these go up into these USB controllers right here, and they control all of our buttons. Now, upgrading this stuff will be coming. I do have a replacement. One of mine broke, my controllers. I have a replacement with that, so we'll be doing a video for that, how to swap it out and put in a new one. But eventually, there's a bunch of modifications I want to do, not just like I want to add 2 more buttons. I'm going to make a new face. There's all kinds of stuff to come. But for right now, let's stick to this upgrade before I get too caught off track. All right, so once we get everything unplugged, we're just going to, come on, HDMI, there we go. We just grab our screwdriver, and we actually want to take this screw out and open up our top, because we want to unplug this wire for our, come here. All right, so as you see, that's just there. We're going to unplug it from the board. It's a little hard to get to. Just move the wires out of the way and it should pull out. Put that to the side for now. Make sure I don't lose that screw. Okay, so as you can see here, we're not going to need to use this. So I'll pull it out. Now, what we are going to need to do, I'm not going to do this second, I'll probably do it off camera, but I'll show it to you on the other board, because like I said, we're going to switch this out. These pins, we're going to have to actually take one of them, this one here, and move it to there. For this to function later on, but I'll show you what that looks like when we get to the other top. Okay, so then now that we have that out, we want to remove the 4 screws from around the outside of the unit, just like so, and then we'll be able to take the full unit out. And as you'll be able to see, this is the exact same case that I got for the Pi 5. And I did find it on Amazon. Like I said, it was like 25 bucks. So, all right, so there we go. Now, be very careful pulling this line out. You don't want to break it in any way because this is what allows the micro SD card to read the unit. So there it is, Pi 4. It's got some sawdust on it, but okay. Right there. It looks very similar to the Pi 5. This has active cooling. This did too, but obviously the fan was on the top. But it's this exact same case. Some of the differences, as you might see right here, is that they've switched where the USB and the Ethernet are. Also, again, we've lost our audio jack there. So with the new case here, again, no audio jack. But as you can see, it's like the exact same case. And we won't be using the fan, obviously, because this one already has a fan. Now, you could be asking yourself, hey, can I just use the fan from the other case? Possibly. I don't know if that would help or make it any worse. You would probably want to have some sort of a heat sink and everything. As you can see, this covers quite a bit of things on the board. So, I mean, that option's yours. I wouldn't suggest it. I would get a proper active cooling for my Pi. All right, so that's it. That's how easy it was. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to throw the Pi 5 into the case. And then we will get the brackets off the bottom of there and we'll mount it in here. Actually, I'm going to quickly pause and then we're going to switch out this top board. All right, so I've switched out this top here. As you can see, no crack. I don't know, maybe you can't see that on camera, but no crack. Pretty easy. All I did was unplug these two wires, switch it out, bring it over. I also unplugged the wire out of here. Again, I'm not sure if you can see it, but now the wires are no longer one over on the two ends. They're side by each, which is the way we'll want it if we're going to use the power button in here still. Again, it'll only turn off. And then this wire here just is for the light that goes around the power button. If it's plugged in, there'll be no light. So you can plug it in. It's totally up to you. All right, so now we're going to take our Pi 5 case and we're going to put our Pi 5 into it. All right, so we get some mounting screws here on the inside and a little grommet, it looks like, if you see that properly, for the power button. So I'm going to use the magic of TV. This isn't even TV, the magic of video. And we're going to just do this real quick so that everything's done for you. All right, so here we are. We got it all put inside the case. Now, you don't necessarily need to buy a case that's exactly the same as this one. The kit that I got came with this case instead. It's a plastic case. I actually would run it. I was running it with no lid. The problem with this case, and the reason I ended up buying a replacement one that's the same as what comes in the unit in the first place, is because where the switch is going to be, where I'm going to put the switch, the pins for the switch, I don't know, again, you can see the little holes there. This here has this plastic piece right here in the way. So there is no way to even have it sitting there. And so if you don't plan on using that switch ever, and like I said, we're going to set it up so you don't have to, then you don't have to even worry about this as your case. Although I do like the metal case, I think it will help with cooling. Okay, so like I said, I have switched these over. Now, what we want to do is we want to put these on pins 5 and 6. Okay, so 5 and 6. So you start at the top. Top left being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which would be the third row. And then we just simply slip this onto those. Bam. Okay. And we will, if you do want to use this switch, there will be something that you'll have to put in the command file. But I will show you how to do that in the video that I will do of setting everything up on the operating system. Okay, so that's in. Now what we want to do is we want to take the feet that we got with our unit, and we're going to throw these on now. And again, I will use the amazing magic of video, and we'll put these bad boys on there. And voila, we now have feet on here. So very easy, just screw in the 4 screws, and we'll put it back in the exact same spot that we had it before, using the same screws. So first we want to start by putting in the extender for the micro SD card. Slide that in, make sure you push it all the way to the back. And then we'll just throw in the exact same spot it was before, and using the same screws that came with the unit. If I can do this without dropping as I drop it. How about now? Aha, 3 in there. All right, so now this part's pretty simple. We just button everything back up the way it was. You can put your case lid on if you want or not. The choice is really yours. That didn't quite, maybe that's a little tight. Hang on. But yeah, the choice is kind of yours whether or not you want to have the top on or not. I'm going to put it on for mine. But like I said, I have ran it before without having the top on. And it looks like for some reason mine is not hooking up to all the holes. So I'm going to do it. I'm not putting everything back. I think those 2 screws are more than enough. The other holes aren't quite lining up. I'm not sure why. It is literally the exact same thing. So, yeah, maybe no, it's the same holes. Anyways, it shouldn't be a big deal, but that ain't going nowhere. As you can see, I just lifted up the unit. Let me throw this back on to pins 5 and 6. 5 and 6. Slide that on there. Okay, and then you can put your case on like so. Now there's a little bit of a gap right here in the side of the case for wires to come out, so you don't have to worry about it being clamped in there. What you do have to do though is slide it on the front first and then clip it in. There we go, like that. And that should line up our screw hole and we can get our screw in. There we go. All right, now we just need to plug everything back in, and we will be ready to go over to the main unit and start setting stuff up inside there. So let me plug everything in, I guess. So the top one obviously is top. The bottom one is obviously bottom. So just follow that. That's exactly what I did. So this is the top one. No, this is the bottom one. So we'll throw this in here. I'm sorry if my head got in there and didn't mean to. Didn't see if it did or didn't, but if it did, I apologize. All right, so then what we want to do, actually, sorry, we need to reverse these. So we want these in the blue ones, which are here now, and then we want the arcade sticks to be over on that side. So what we want is this wire here goes in the top, this wire here goes in the bottom. Controller 1, controller 2. So this one in the bottom, controller 2, just kind of slide that wire like that, and this one in the top. But first let's slide in our Ethernet cable and then that in the top there. Okay, so now we're not going to need this anymore, so we can just put this off to the side. Another thing that might be handy to have that I'll be using are some zip ties and some tie straps, especially once we get to the cabinet. Another thing that you're probably going to want is, you don't have to necessarily these ones, but some heavy duty Velcro pads to attach things to stuff and things. Again, you know, that's how I'm doing it. You can do it whatever way you want, but you'll probably want some of that stuff as well. Okay, so we will plug in the power like that, and now HDMI like that. Come on, I know you wanna. There we go. And bingo, bango, bongo, the main part of the change or the mod is done. We have our Pi 5 in there. It looks nice and neat. We have our power button that will only shut off the power in this scenario and yeah, we're good to go. So let's button it up, and then we will hop over to the full arcade, and I'll show you what I'm doing over in the cabinet for wiring and powering. All right, so first thing we want to do here is we're going to start with the base before we get everything put back together. because this is where I put the actual power supply that comes with the unit. So all I did was, because I didn't want all that extra wire hanging around in the top of the actual arcade, to keep things nice and neat, what I did was I used one of these Velcro, double-sided Velcro strip things I got from Amazon, really heavy-duty Velcro. And like really heavy, like you gotta really rip it off, like it's not going anywhere, which is what you want because the unit can shake around and move around. And I have a few little wire management clips like this with some 3M tape like there, and I just kind of put them across here so I could run the wire all the way along. I threw a zip tie in there just to hold it together. And the reason I did this is because when I put the unit back on the top, there's a couple of holes, and I'm actually going to feed the wires up through the holes. As you can see, this is the power plug, and I'll show you what I did with this once we get to that part. But so I can put these up through the holes, as you will see, and that's how I'll plug them into the power bar. I also have this HDMI. Oh, probably got my head in there, sorry. HDMI, again, you won't need this. This is really just for me so that I can stream my arcade game footage. But yeah, so that's where I put my power supply. You can put anything wherever you want. There is a lot of room. Just make sure you're using some good Velcro so it doesn't fall off in case the unit shakes and everything. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to throw the back on, or the top on it, and I'll show you what I'm doing in the back. Okay, so now into the back of the unit. As you can see, I pulled up that HDMI that I'm going to use out of there. So I've wired some stuff through here and I've moved some stuff. So the power bar right there is where it used to be, or at least the power plug where it would be plugged in was there. I actually unscrewed it. It's just 2 screws, and I moved it up here using a command strip, and I just stuck it there, and that's where we're going to wire it in. So those wires that we put on the inside down in here are actually right here. So I should be able to just reach in, and that's kind of one reason why I put them there, and pull them out just like that. All right, so this is our main power that powers all of this. And this is the plug that it goes into right here. So normally this would be on the outside of the unit, but I moved all that onto the inside of the unit, so we only have one cord coming out. So it's pretty easy from here. I've just zip tied a couple of cords together that I'm going to use. I ran an HDMI back over here because this is where I'm going to put my splitter in. But if you don't have a splitter, you don't have to worry about that. You'll just be using the audio wire. So we're going to start off by grabbing our audio splitter here, and we are going to go from, put you in there, and we're going to throw you in there, and I'm going to put it, I was thinking like here, like that. So I'm going to grab one of my Velcros, and then the HDMI will come out of there, and I'm actually going to thread it back down through here, and it's going to come out here and then go into the unit, if that makes any sense. You'll see. I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I got one of these. I'm going to throw it on the back of this. So what about there? I don't need the whole thing. I'm going to use half of it. We just cut that in half. God, that's even hard to cut through. That's good. All right, so we're going to throw this on the back here and then mount it. And then I'll show you how we go with the HDMI. It's not a big thing. I just wanted to keep the wires out of this area as much as possible. Now this sticky stuff on the outside does not want to come off at all. There we go. Yeah, so did I even peel the right side? Of course not. I always like to put the fuzzy side on the unit and the, I don't know, Velcro-y side on wherever you're gluing it to. So, all right, just like that. And then I want those wires to sit kind of like that. And then, bam. All right, look at that, nice and sturdy. So the next one I'm going to do is over here. I had this here before. As you can see, I still have some of the old Velcro. It kept falling off. That's why I went out and I bought new Velcro. Again, unless you need to split your HDMI, you do not need this process. I'm just putting it in, like I said, because I'm going to run it to my computer to stream from. So what I'm going to do is this HDMI here is actually going to go into here as an input, and then this is output 2, and then I will take this third HDMI here and this will be into here. Now this is what we're going to use to actually plug into our arcade. So I'm just going to put it down through here and then pull it out through the other hole. I'm sorry, I'm going to block the camera. I apologize, but all right, so that's it. Right, and then I'm just going to set it on its side like that, right about there, right, and that's just going to keep everything nice and neat, and I'll be able to use that other half here that I cut, and that'll keep everything nice and neat, like I just said. Just repeat yourself. All right, come on. This is I'm glad that it's hard to get off, but it is a real pain in the arse. Come on, you know, sure won't stick to my fingers. All right, got it. And throw that. I kind of want it straight there. And then we'll kind of line that up like that, and bango. Okay. I think we're pretty much good. Now I'll do the audio here. Oh, I need to plug you. Now this is going out to the actual, again, I'm sorry, I'm blocking the camera. I apologize. It's Velcroed on. Oh my God, that Velcro is so good. Anyways, we're going to plug that in there, and then the audio, we're going to plug in on this side like that. Now let me get that back on. Oh, that's so good. Okay, perfect. Beautiful. All right, now we got that all wired in. I hope everyone can see that all right. So we have, forget this stuff over here. This is going out to the monitor. This is coming in from the arcade. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So anyways, everything's all nice and neat in here now. This is the plug that I'm going to use to plug into the arcade. But we need a power bar because we still need to bypass this. So I'm going to actually just take this and I'm going to move it out of the way because I'm not going to need it right now. Like so. And we'll be using this bad boy here. So that means it's time to pull out our beautiful, amazing extension cord. So I haven't even taken the wire off here to extend it all the way out. But I got a 10-foot cord. The way I seen it, the longer the better. But basically what I'm going to do is we're going to mount this like that. Right there. Now, it is, I'll go grab the back now and I'll show you. It doesn't quite fit perfectly. As much as I wish it would. But it's just a little bit of a trim, and I'm pretty sure you can just use, and I'll do it. I'll show you. Well, I won't show you me doing it. As you can see, though, it is just too big. I don't know how well that's coming up, but there we go. Sorry about my hand there. Yeah, it's just too big to fit. So I'm going to cut off a little bit, but that's okay. If you don't want to, I'm pretty sure you could use an X-Acto knife or something, but if you don't want to, that shouldn't be a problem. All we should have to do is just move it back a little bit, just like that, right? And you can still reach in and hit that power button, which is the main thing. So from now on, instead of using the power button on the front of the unit, you'll just reach back and click that, and that'll shut it off. So let me take that off now that I've shown you that, and we will get everything set up and plugged in. So once again, I will use the power of video. Oh, my camera's not even anymore. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. There we go. Yeah, we'll use the amazing power of video here, and I will get everything in its proper place. Okay, so I just went ahead and I just Velcroed this on here for now, in case I want to move it later. Oh my god, this Velcro is so good! As you can see, it's very hard. It ain't going nowhere. Let me put that back on. So I have it right there. Now, the only things that need to be plugged in are, for me, I need to plug in this, the obviously power for the Android box, the Raspberry Pi. Let's just say I used to do stuff with Android boxes. So I'm going to plug you, I think right there should do. And then I'm actually going to feed this down and come through this side here just to keep the wire a little more neat looking. Not as dangly and dangly, because it's really just going to kind of go like that. Then we have our power cable here. So I will plug that into there like so. This is our HDMI for the main unit. That'll go through there. So now on the front end, when we plug it in, we'll use this for our power and then this one for HDMI. Now I need to hook up the power for my splitter box. So, oh, sorry, I'm just throwing stuff now. Okay, so I'm going to actually plug you there. Yeah, like that. We're going to run you around there. Now, I think I'm going to go down because it's so easy to just, sorry about getting in camera, shoulder camera there, sorry. Just like that. And then we're going to run it right. I'm going to go behind, I think. Ah! I just dropped it. Come on, come here. I gotcha. All right. Let's try this again, shall we? Run it behind and into there. All right. So that should be everything powered up. As you can see, the main unit, which we are housing down in the bottom along this side, and we've ran both wires across so it comes up to the power supply. All right, so it's, again, inside the bottom. You can rewind the video and see where I put that. Then we have basically our HDMI into here. Audio out of here, which is our main audio that already comes with the unit. We're just plugging it into here, and HDMI to there. So when we plug it in, we'll plug these two in, and then we should be good to go. So that is basically it. Now we'll switch over to me, the front end, and we'll plug everything in and see if it turns on. Let's cross our fingers. All right, I went out and I took my Dremel to the back. So I just wanted to show you what that looks like with it cut out properly. So I'm just gonna slide that down. There we go, I cut it out. So, I mean, that looks really nice. It looks like it actually almost belongs there, and we still have access to this power switch. So you'll be able to reach around the back and just click that to turn off the power. You don't need to necessarily have the power button on the front anymore or the power button on the top. We can just use this one right here. All right, let's flip over to the front, and we will put the rest of this together. All right, moment of truth. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So we have our unit. Everything is wired up, should be wired up. Let's plug in our HDMI and our power. So, all right, I'm not going to actually put the screws in yet, just in case. So we want power on here, and now I have it plugged in, so I'll reach the back here and power on here. And if we did everything right, oh, I didn't put an SD card in. So, it's not going to load. 1 second. Let me grab an SD card. All right, let's try that again, shall we? Now that, oops, sorry about that. Now that we got the SD card in. Oh my goodness, here we go. Moment of truth, I guess. See if everything turns on now. All right, we got a light. And any moment now. All right. Woohoo! Looks like we're good. Apparently, we have upgraded to a Raspberry Pi 5. Now, obviously, you can't use the same image that you did on your Pi 4 and your Pi 5. And there are videos and stuff that I'm working on to cover everything like that. You can always check out Canadian Canuck Arcade's Facebook group. A lot of videos and stuff on there as well, and other people to help out. So I hope this video helped you all out. I hope you got something from it and are able to upgrade. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Other than that, have a good one. Good day, eh?